Remember when going viral just meant you probably caught the flu? Welcome back, everyone. Today, we re-firing up the time machine and taking a trip down memory lane to explore 25 ways teen life was completely, utterly different before the internet took over our world. If you grew up in the 70s and 80s, get ready, because this is going to hit you right in the nostalgia. And if you're younger, well, get ready to find out how your parents survived what you might call the Stone Age. Let's dive right in. First up, waiting by the phone. You couldn't just text your crush at 2 in the morning. No. If you wanted to talk to someone, you had to summon the courage to call their family's landline and pray their dad did unpick up. And if the line was busy, you just had to keep redialing again and again until your finger literally hurt. The struggle was so real. Next, making plans was a permanent contract. When you said, meet me at the mall at 3 p.m., that was it. It was set in stone. There were no last-minute running late texts or can't make it deep. If your friend didn't show up, you just stood there, waiting, maybe for an hour, feeling like a total fool before finally giving up and going home. And how about mixtapes? They were the original love letters. Forget throwing a Spotify playlist together in 5 minutes. Making a mixtape for someone was a labor of love that took hours. You'd sit by the radio, your finger hovering over the record button, just waiting for that perfect song to come on. Every single tape was a carefully curated work of art and a true declaration of your feelings. TV schedules ruled your life. If you missed your favorite show, that was it. Too bad. There was no streaming, no on-demand, no binge. You watched it when it aired, or you just didn't watch it at all. Thursday nights were absolutely sacred if you were into the big sitcoms, and you'd plan your entire evening around them. Need to do homework? You'd better have a set of research meant a trip to the library or pulling a heavy, dusty book off the shelf. You couldn't just Google it. If you wanted to know something, you had to actually work for that knowledge. It felt like an intellectual treasure hunt. And the phone cords, they were your personal prison. Landline phones had these long, curly cords. If you wanted any privacy for your conversation, you had to stretch that cord as far as it would go into a closet down the hallway or into the bathroom. Some of those cords got so twisted and tangled, they looked like a strand of DNA. Remember passing notes in class? Before texting, we had an entire underground postal system operating between desks. It was all about complex folding techniques and stealthy, and of course, getting caught was the ultimate risk. It meant public humiliation as the teacher unfolded your note and read it out loud to the entire class. You also had to memorize phone numbers. Seriously, your brain was your contact list. There was no phone to save them for you. Many of us can probably still recite our childhood best friend's number from memory. Even decades later, it's permanently burned into our minds. Friday nights often meant a trip to the video store. The highlight of the week was going to Blockbuster and hoping the new release you wanted wasn't already rented out. The sheer disappointment when you saw all the copies of The Breakfast Club were gone. It was devastating. Your whole weekend plan ruined. Then there was photo developing anxiety. You'd take pictures on a camera with actual film, and then you had to wait for days, sometimes even weeks, to get them developed and see if any of them turned out okay. There were no retakes, no filters, no instant gratification. What you shot was what you got. And sometimes that meant you got back 24 blurry pictures of your thumb. The mall was everything. It wasn't just a place to shop. It was the social hub. It was the center of the teenage universe. You'd spend hours just walking around, doing absolutely nothing, seeing who else was there, and maybe, if you were lucky, hitting the arcade for a bit. Before cell phones, the coolest kids had pagers, te were high-tech status symbols. Someone would page you with a number, and then you'd have to find a payphone to call them back. It was a whole process, and we developed our own secret codes. Seeing 143 pop up on your pager meant I love you. It was basically ancient hieroglyphics for modern romance. And let's not forget roller skating rinks. These were the prime locations for socializing. The couple's skate was your big chance to hold hands with your crush as you circled the rink. When the DJ put on a slow song like Endless Love, it was peak 80s romance. Believe it or not, spoilers didn't really exist. For movies and TV, you actually had to watch the thing to know what happened. There was no risk of seeing the ending on Twitter. The only way news spread was through those water cooler conversations at school the next day. Getting lost was part of the journey. Road trips meant navigating with giant paper maps. Your dad would probably refuse to ask for directions, while your mom tried to refold a map the size of a tablecloth in the passenger seat. Getting lost wasn't a failure. It was just an expected part of the adventure. Boomboxes were everywhere. If you wanted to share your music with your friends, you had to carry a 20-pound boombox on your shoulder. That was the portable speaker, and you got bonus points if it took, like, 10 D-cell batteries to power it for a couple of hours. Most of us only had 3 or 4 TV channels. Cable was a luxury. Your viewing options were limited, but we made it work. PBS was often your unexpected homework helper, and Saturday morning cartoons were the most important event of the entire week. Everything was handwritten. Essays for school were either written out by hand or, if you were fancy, typed on an actual typewriter. If you made a mistake, you had to use whiteout or just start the whole page over. The only spell check was a dictionary, and your arm would be exhausted by the end. Dating was a mystery. If you were dating someone from another school, you had no way to check them out beforehand. No Instagram stalking, no looking at their friends' profiles. You just showed up for the date, hoping they actually looked like they said they did. It was a leap of faith. Album artwork was a huge deal. Music came on vinyl records or cassette tapes, and you'd spend hours just staring at the album cover, reading the liner notes, and studying every single detail while you listened. It was a full-on sensory experience, not just background noise. The dreaded busy signal. If you called someone and got that beeping sound, it meant they were on the phone with someone else. You couldn't leave a voicemail on their cell. You couldn't send a call me back text. You just had to hang up and try again later. Revolutionary? I know. Arcades were social hotspots. Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, Space Invaders. These games were where friendships were forged and epic rivalries were born. You'd pump quarter after quarter into those machines for hours, all in the pursuit of getting your initials on the high score screen. There were no instant answers. If a question came up during dinner, it could spark a 30-minute family debate because nobody could just pull out their phone and look it up. Arguments could last 4 days, until someone finally remembered to check the encyclopedia. Curfews actually meant something. When those streetlights came on, you knew it was time to head home. Your parents had no GPS to track you. You were just ... out there. We were basically free-range children, roaming the neighborhood until dusk. And finally, patience was a virtue you were forced to learn. Everything took longer. Communicating, finding entertainment, getting information, it all required a level of patience that seems almost unimaginable today. But you know what? We survived. We tribe, and we have some pretty amazing memories because of it. So there you have it. 25 ways. Teen life was wildly different. Before the internet, was it better? That's really for you to decide. But one thing is for sure, we didn't know what we were missing, and somehow that made the whole experience pretty special. If you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, go ahead and smash that like button and subscribe for more nostalgic content. Drop a comment below and tell us which of these you remember most. Which one shocks you the most if you read from a younger generation. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.